Hi, folks. This is Amit Ralani, Alliances Manager for Cloudian, here to talk to you about our new solution with our Technology Alliance partner, Storage Made Easy. What we're releasing today is a GDPR-ready sync and share system for the enterprise. Now, SME has been an alliance partner for Cloudian for about 6 to 8 months now. We officially signed a resale agreement with SME in December, and we are able to carry the SME products on our paper itself. So the customer sees this solution as coming directly from one vendor, so they don't have to deal with multiple vendors. That actually eases the burden of getting the system up and running in the customer situation from one vendor itself. So this is a great solution that you guys can take to your customers. This is also applicable to our resale channel partners. They get the same benefits of our resale agreement with SMEs. So what is the solution about, and why is it important? So to begin with, let's focus on the business problem that we are trying to solve. In any given enterprise situation, a large organization has a lot of data that they generate and store. And in a collaborative environment, it is a need for the enterprise to be able to share this data across various users and be able to collaborate to generate new ideas, to generate new products, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, this is a problem that is real and quite prevalent today. Data is usually spread across silos. The tools that are available for sharing data are cumbersome or just not there. People use their personal emails, personal web-based file sharing accounts to share data across various boundaries, silos, and what have you. The issue with this kind of sharing is that the data usually that gets shared gets uploaded to some kind of a cloud-based system like Dropbox, and it leaves the enterprise boundaries. This reduces the control that the IT has on the kind of data that gets shared and where it is shared from. The kind of security provisions that get applied to this data are also questionable. There is very little control on what kind of data that resides in these files. For example, if there is personal data, PII data, there is a very high probability of leakage if this data crosses the enterprise boundary. What this in turn goes to is a lot of the big enterprises are it is very difficult for them to maintain 100% compliance with the regulations in place today. Most of you must have heard of the most stringent regulatory compliance requirement that came into effect in May of 2018, which is GDPR. This is a Europe-based regulation, but it's not just restricted to European companies. Any company that does business within the EU boundaries requires compliance with GDPR. So this is more encompassing than just the EU states. In addition, California also passed the country's strictest data privacy law in June of 2018, and this puts the burden of data privacy, data security, and compliance on enterprises across the United States. That's where the solution with Cloudian and Storage Made Easy comes into play. Cloudian, as you know, is an on-premises data management and storage company, and we offer a simple, modular, cost-effective, highly scalable object store with our Hyperfile, which also provides file interface to the same. We give the companies and enterprises the capability to start small and scale up to hundreds of petabytes of usable data storage. And SME is an enterprise collaboration software company which gives you an easy-to-use cloud-like file sharing software. The solution of Cloudian plus SME is is something that we are formally launching today. This is a compliance-focused file sharing and syncing service that is focused on enterprises today. The three big tenets of this particular solution are the ease of use for end users. This offers a Dropbox-like interface to being able to share and sync data across the enterprise. It offers highly scalable, almost limitless scalability of on-premises storage so that the data stays within your enterprise boundaries. And it gives you the capability of being GDPR-ready with a lot of compliance and a lot of control to the IT. We'll get into some of these shortly. From an ease of use perspective, the solution offers the end users a very easy to use Dropbox-like interface where you have a very lightweight application that gets installed on the end clients and gives you the feel of similar to your cloud-based file sharing system. There is a capability of provisioning drop folders for collaboration where multiple users within the organizations can collaborate and share files based on the permissions that have been set for them. The solution supports Windows, Linux, Mac, iOS, and Android across systems that are used across the organization. And it gives the organization single sign-on simplicity by being able to integrate with AD and other features. Some of the compliance-ready features that come with this solution are ability to authenticate, capability of using your current LDAP and Active Directory settings, federated authentication systems, and so on. From a governance perspective, it offers fine-grained NTFS-like access control policies where you can give different kind of users different policy level all the way up to the object level. And similarly, the sharing policies. One important thing to note here is the capability of doing policies based on your geolocation. This is based on looking at your IP address and figuring out whether you're in a particular geography where the files can be shared or not. The ability to provide IT with comprehensive auditing capabilities. The system records every access that happens to every file in a tamper-proof audit trail, which can actually be looked at in case of any kind of auditing requirements that may come in. Encryption for data at rest with AES-256, as well as data in motion. And finally, the capability of discovering your data as it is uploaded. What this means is automatically being able to look at the data that's being uploaded to the storage and being able to tag data when it is sensitive. So the solution out of the box supports 60 plus identifiable patterns for personal information, whether it's credit cards, social security numbers, date of birth, etc. And it also has the capability to add onto the 60 patterns with customized patterns such as employee IDs and what have you. This gives a comprehensive way of automatically classifying data as PII or not as it flows within the organization. Some examples of joint customers that are already using the solution today. One of the largest media and entertainment company in the United States uses the Cloudian hyperstore for storing their massive media files and SME on top to create a file share layer to be able to access and share files across their organization. An educational institution in Eastern Europe that uses the SME Cloudian solution to to offer Dropbox-like capabilities to their students across their campus, and an MSP, Caligo, that offers a GDPR-ready file sync and share capabilities to different clients within their customer base. These are the examples of currently using customers of the solution. With that, I'm going to transfer the control over to Stephen to give you a quick demo of the solution.
Storage Made Easy provides a control layer for object storage, creating an easily managed file fabric with policy-based controls for governance, audit, and security. For this demo, we've set up a 20-person organization called Media. I'm actually logging into a tenant. The solution is deployed in multi-tenant software. It's deployed as an appliance, virtual appliance, on-premise, in the cloud, or as a managed service. I'll log in as the admin, as I said. I'm using username and password here. This also could be tied to my enterprise identity provider, LDAP, SAML, AD, for single sign-on, and also two-factor authentication is supported. I'm going to jump to the provider dashboard. This is where we can see the storage that we have configured for the file fabric. See Cloudian object storage, regular file system, local file system, and cloud storage. SME goes out and indexes the source data to present this storage as a single namespace unified as files and folders. It can be accessed easily then through desktop applications, mobile clients, and mounted drives, for example. Let's look first at the web-based Cloud File Manager. The File Manager provides a human-friendly, perhaps familiar view into Cloudian hyperstorage. We're being able to see the objects as files and folders. If we were to create a folder, and let's do that at the top level, we're actually creating a bucket on the object side, on the hyperstore side. We can also pull some data in here. We're now updating uploading the data, running it through a virus check, and storing it on Cloudian object storage. The file fabric is asynchronously uploading this information. If we jump into one of the folders, you can see that scanning is enabled. What's happening here is after the files check for viruses, we look for sensitive information. We've set up a few discovery rules in this case, including social security number and credit cards, and configured it to send notifications to administrators for PII. There includes 60 rules you can choose from, and you can also create your own. Let's just refresh this. We can see this file has PII has been discovered with the icon here, and we can see exactly what data has been found. And we can see at the folder level what folders also contain may contain sensitive information. From this view, we can also see a preview of files. We can see when the file was created, modified, where it's stored. We can also add comments to the file. In addition to looking like a file system, a hierarchical file system, we also have file system semantics. We edit the file. There are a few ways of doing that. One pretty cool approach is with Cloud Edit. Cloud Edit will automatically open the local desktop application that's appropriate for that file, the Office application, and then download the file from Object Store behind the scenes We can then make changes, save that information. The file fabric detects that has been changed, then automatically uploads that back to Cloudian Hyperstore. If we do jump back, we'll just do a quick refresh of the system here. We can see now that we have version. So versions and trash are ways of offering file system semantics in terms of accidentally editing a file or overwriting a file. So we have, as we'll see a little later, a lot of flexibility in customizing how we want a trash to operate and versioning. This information is also visible through a desktop drive. Before we do that, let's just jump in. We can see that on this view we're seeing the different types of storage we have available. If we jump in and have a look at an end user view, in this case the user is the archivist, we can see here's a different set of root folders, level 1 folders. Well, these represent the folders that have been shared that are accessible by this user. The one that here is in grey is read-only, and the others are read-write update. I've configured the drive on this machine as the archivist. So we'll jump to the mapped drive, and here we can see the corresponding files. Oh, but it looks like our marketing folder is not there, so let's jump into that new folder and get access. So before we do that, we'll convert that to a shared team folder. That sets it up for accepting access control permissions. Set some permissions. We can use both users, usernames, or roles. We have the sort of the traditional read-write or updatable, and also some other features too, which are more applicable to web-based files and sharing and collaboration. We apply that at the root folder, and just like we expect, the permissions are inherited by any child folders. And we can also go into the child folders and create additional restrictions or changes in permissions. Now if we go back to the web view, we'll be able to see that we now have marketing, read-only. But what's cool is we now also have access. I'm just going to refresh. We now have access to the data that we had earlier, that we had through the web-based interface, and that's being stored on the back end. We could also take a look at the back end. Just a refresh to pick up the new shared bucket. And we can see here the files that were uploaded. The file fabric does not modify the data, so adding a file either through the S3 API or through a file-based approach through the file fabric, it's all the same. You can read through one, write through one, and read through another. So you're able to have both applications and end users collaborating on different documents. And also, so data doesn't change, and also the file names don't change as well. So, how do I share files with other users in the company or even external parties? One way, of course, is sharing links. The beauty of sharing them through the file fabric is they can be audited, tracked by IT administrators and policies. So we can share a quick link this way. Here we can configure some settings, either a short URL service like tinyurl. We could set expiry date, maybe the link's only good for 7 days. We could set other types of limits, such as a download limit. In this case, it's preset to 3 by the administrator, or rather a configuration policy. We may also set a password if we like. In this case, we'll also set up that our organizational policy may require that we need to give a reason for sharing. This creates a link here. And we've just to send that to someone, that would download the file that we've just shared. We also have the ability to share folders if that's appropriate for the security of the organization, and the ability to share folders for, we call them Dropboxes, to receive files from partners. So we've indexed this data across the file stores. We also have the ability to now search across the content. We have some scripts here, I know, so we might search for Romeo. We found a script, and now we can open the folder that contains that data and look at other information related to that. Under the policies area, we can see the type of control you have over, for example, the user interface, how versioning is dealt with, setting up encryption, different types of policies around file sharing. You can see we really have a breadth of options to enable you to fine-tune the support for the organizational requirements that you have.
I will make sure that you guys have access to not just the environment, but also other material as required to support any of your opportunities. Okay. With that, we will bring this webinar to an end. Thank you very much.